Hi, and welcome to Business Automation 101. I'm Tanya Shipman. Productivity and getting the work done, getting something completed can be very daunting. It can be something that you look at and you think, I don't think I can actually get that done. It's too big. It's too complicated. I don't know where to start. It's too hard. I don't have the skills. There's a whole heap of reasons why, when there's something that needs to get done, that you can find reasons why you don't need to get started. And so I'm just going to share some little tips and ideas that will help you get something completed. So I found this image and I thought this really sums up very easily how you can break tasks down when you've got to get something done. Everything has a heading, if you want to think of it that way. Everything is a task that you need to do. For example, if you're writing a book, you need to have a concept, you need to have chapters, you need to have paragraphs, you need to have sentences, you need to have words. So you're going from the concept to the chapters, to the paragraphs, to the words, and you're trying to figure out what will you write or what will you say. So break them down. Look at what you want to talk about. If you're creating a product, it's what problem does it fix? What's the solution you can offer? What can you actually get done by setting out what you need to get completed? So if you're creating a product, as I said, it's a solution to a problem that somebody has. So you have to set out what the problem is. You have to set out what are the products or the software or the systems that will allow you to complete it, and then you have to demonstrate or explain how it works. Or it might be you want to switch them around, but you start with the whole, this is what I want to create, and then start looking at how you can break the tasks down. And as you start breaking them down, you find that you need to have subheadings under subheadings. And as I said, this image makes it quite easy to see how you can then start writing down all the things that you need to do, and then you can also start putting them where they fit into your life or your work or your need to get it completed. Now, if you want to get a product out once a month, what do you have to do in the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4? So you'd maybe have 4 instead of 3. If you're, and in each week, there are certain things that you need to do. You might work 5 days a week, so you can allocate 5 days to work on things, or you might work 7 days a week, so you have 7 days that you can allocate things. And as they get completed, you can tick them off. You can see that even though, for example, if you're writing a book about, or a product, creating a product about a solution, problem that you have the results for, you might want to write how it's working for you as the first part, but you might not want that at the beginning of the book. It doesn't matter where you write it or where you fit it in. It just, as long as at the end, everything is done. And that can be a really hard concept, that before you can do something, you can't continue until you've done step 1. But that's not necessarily always true. It depends on what you're creating. It depends on what you're trying to make. But bits and pieces can be done. For example, you might have a sales page template. So as you think of solutions, and as you think of benefits and reasons why people might want to buy your product, you can be adding them into that sales page. You're not going to offer the sales page until the very end when everything's ready to go, but adding things to it as you get along is not a bad idea if that's how your mind works. Breaking big tasks down into smaller tasks, means that you can get a number of things done that then actually result in the bigger task being completed. But if you try and do the bigger task without actually breaking it down, it can seem too hard, and then you just don't do it. And instead you're left with an incomplete product. Any job really gets broken down, and I use the example of how to make a cup of coffee. And this is something that's used with training, but to make a cup of coffee, you might just say, well, it's coffee and water. There you go. But where's the cup? How did you boil the water? Where did you get the coffee from? How did you get the coffee into the cup? These are all steps and part of the process that have to be acknowledged and written down, so that if you're telling somebody else how to do what you're doing, all of a sudden that cup of coffee is not as simple a process as you thought it was. Then there's, do you add in milk or creamer, like they say in the US, or do you add in flavors? Do you put in sugar? Do you put in maple syrup? Do you put in agave? Do you put in, sweeteners? All of those also have to be demonstrated. So if somebody wants to have a cup of tea and they've got a sweet tooth, or they like dairy or almond milk, well, then now we've got onto a whole different thing. All the different nut milks, all the different soy milks, all the different other types of milk. And this has suddenly got to be a little bit bigger than you thought it was. But because as you think of ideas, you write them down and how you can demonstrate them, you're now able to say, okay, to make a cup of coffee, you need this equipment, you need this food. And the benefit is you're going to have a delicious cup of coffee at the end of it. At the beginning, you don't have a cup of coffee. So you've written down all the steps to have the results that you want. And that's how you can get work done. So I can grab the spoon and I can grab the cup and I can put the jug on, and then I can put the coffee in. But maybe you like to put the sugar in first. So as you can see, there's no one true way to do anything. And that's also with how you get the work done. You don't have to start at number 1 and go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe you can do 6 first because you've got most of it ready to go already, because it's a template or a system that you've got set up. Then you can do 3. You then have to go back and do 1 because 1 was the next step in the process. Doesn't matter that at the end of it you need 10 to be done. You do it in the order that works for you. And that's how you get work done. Don't do it because everybody says, find out what works for you. So to get work done, break it down into small tasks. Don't break it down into so many tiny tasks that you're spending more time trying to keep a track of the tasks. If you're an expert at what you're doing, as I said, for somebody to say, make a cup of coffee, they're already pulling all the things out. But if I'm trying to demonstrate it to you, you've got to know what I've got to tell you, where you've got to start. And the same thing happens when you're doing any sort of work. You might be so good at what you do that you only use the first 3 boxes because you know how to get the job done. But if you're starting something new, or you're trialing something, or you want to set up your system so that you can explain it to other people, start breaking it down and completing the tasks when you can. That's how you can be more productive. So if you've got any questions about anything about productivity, give me a shout out. I am very productive and I get a lot of things done. I'm Tanya Shipman from Business Automation 101. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.